Who's this? One quick close to time for us to start this. Quests. Oh, fuck, that is not what I want. Okay, right, I have beyond royally fucked this timeline. This stuff was recorded way back at the start of August. It's fucking end of October right now, so that should tell you about how well I'm doing. And like a sign from God, I've managed to injure myself in such a way where I'm not able to play VR for the next while. So let's get this long overdue show on the road. Right, where we left off last time, we managed to get to the graveyards, learn about the words that we need to do, took in some old man smell and got ready to move out. They've asked us to go find this horn, which is somewhere over that region of the map. But what I want to do first is I want to head over to the Bard College. And you'll probably be able to tell from that last clip there, but I absolutely royally fucked the audio for this one. When I was recording, I changed some of the settings around and I did something to the audio gate and it only picks up like every other word. It was brutal for most of this, so it's going to be mostly a voiceover and me cutting out everything else. But just to reaffirm the goals for this one, we're heading to the college to get better magic to improve our build so that we can actually take on this crypt where we can get the horn for the Greybeards. Ready? Let's go. That's not it. Trying this one a bit more carefully this time, trying not to kill ourselves. So we're going to get across the water and work our way round to the college. We're going to make a brief stop in Windhelm, get any gear that we need, offload anything else, and then carry on our way around the long winding wintry coast. Now you'll probably see some things jump and change after this. I messed around a little bit with some of the settings. Some of it was just visual stuff, which wasn't very important, just making more things render, less things look like ass in the distance so I can actually see stuff. The other thing, very important, we hit level 10. Around every 10th level I want to be bumping the difficulty up, just so that things don't feel too easy while I'm playing. This time I decided that things were far too easy, so I bumped it up twice instead of just the once. So we went from, fuck, what was the other one? Right, quick Google later. We started in Novice, then we moved up straight through Apprentice right into Adept. I thought this would be fine. Oh fucking jeez. I mean, look at it, we handled these skeevers perfectly. Now you may be wondering why I'm staring at my hand very confused, but somehow I've managed to equip two weapons at the same time. Once again, betting this is something to do with the mod instability, I learned I can throw one while holding the other. What the fuck is this? And this gave me immense satisfaction as I worked my way around to the next bandit camp, where I was very intent in testing this out. It also never occurred to me to try and equip them on both hands and throw them with the other hand too. For some reason I thought it was just my main hand this worked with. Once again, gotta minimise the wildlife population so it doesn't take over. It's a service I'm performing, really. Gosh. And here's our perfect opportunity to test out some of the new abilities we've discovered. Now while we were kicking ass and taking names, Janassa was doing her usual shenanigans of whatever the hell this is. And it was right about here I started to wonder if I'd bumped up the difficulty a little bit too much. And it's right about here you can see my heartbreak as I realise I haven't put down a save after getting down from the mountain. And then you can see me go through some various stages of grief, trying to convince myself that it's okay, it looks good, there's other things. But really I'm just a shattered man. It's fine though, we come up with a new plan. We decided this time we're going to take the slow and steady approach. The quick way down was a bit difficult, as well as I damn near killed myself. And I'm going to actively avoid trying to do that, no matter how much of a time save it could be. But rather than being careful and cautious, going down the risky way, we're just going to go down the safe way, come out the other side of the mountain, and just enjoy the walk for what it is. And try not to think about how much time we've lost. It's not long before we can see Iverstead, and we can already start to see some of the remnants of the mess we made on the way up. Gotta do a little bit of spring cleaning, just so you know, other pilgrims aren't running into the corpses of saber tigers and goats. On our lovely travels, we run into this very lovely Khajiit, who offers to sell us some wares. I don't know why these guys get such a bad rap, but there was a small problem with his customer service. He didn't seem to like the fact that I didn't want to buy anything.
Ah, snitch, eh? Can't have you running to any guards now, can I?
Now starting to understand why they get such a bad rap. Sorry, little one. We carry on blighting the landscape and thinning out the local wildlife. We stopped to take some directions very briefly from the very handy signposts, and then the game got pitch black on me. And as we're trying to trudge our way through the night time, we come across what seems to be the unfortunate dwellings of the last person to run into that saber-tooth we just bypassed. We have a quick raid and a rummage around his house before we head out, but nothing really of note was found. Well, actually, one of the things we do find of note is a treasure map, which I am likely to never fucking do because I can never get them right. Janasa here doing some fine work as a meat shield. Right, and then we are immediately back into fumbling around in the dark. It is pitch black now that the sun has fully set, but I do not have the time to waste, because I've already spent about 3 hours at this point, and I am still nowhere fucking near where I need to be. Before long, the murky path that we've been travelling along changes to a nice snowy path, which means we should be close to Windhelm, our first stopover. Now while we take a second to admire this lantern which is bringing some much needed light to my eyes, I just want to point out just how much I fucking hate travelling at night. Not only can I not fucking see anything, for some reason weird shit keeps happening out of the corner of my eye. I thought I was going mental. Definitely saw that one. Here, I'll do a comparison just to show you what it's like for how bad it is from the pitch black. Right, this isn't quite the full effect, but it's as close as I can get it. On the right, it's pretty much what I see. Everything's just amorphous black, and on the left, you can at least make out there's flowers and details on where the water is. But even then, this is being generous in 3D. And with that, welcome to Windhelm, home of the races, land of the poverty-stricken. And it's at this point I'm wondering what kind of reception I'm going to get, considering I chose an Argonian character. Our first interaction inside Windhelm is a perfect example of what this place has to offer. People bored about being here, and two guys claiming that this one elf is somehow an Imperial spy, because of the Dulux colour chart that they seem to have. These guys then bugger off, and this woman tries to then rope us into the argument somehow.
Are you here to bully us and tell us to leave?
Fucker, no, I'm here to sell shit. I don't even know who you people are. And that was all well and good, but then as soon as I finished this conversation, these fuckers showed up.
You're the one they call Dragonborn.
They showed up interrogating me, asking if I was the Dragonborn. I don't know what you're talking about.
Your lies fall on deaf ears, deceiver. We know you are the false Dragonborn.
Who the fuck is the false Dragonborn? Oh shit, you guys mean business. I genuinely had no idea who these guys were. They showed out of nowhere. I don't even remember them from my original playthrough. And I genuinely can't tell if this is something to do with the DLC or something I've added by mistake. Either way, we lit a letter off of them, dispatched with them with the help of the guards. But once we finally get a moment to ourselves, read the letter we lifted from, which seems to have another quest line opened up already. Something to check out after we get this damn horn. It wasn't too much later until we came across this odd scene as well.
I am the only friend you need.
All the Argonians at the docks are nice to me. Good thing, too. Her father would run them off.
Janasa, disappear this child. And then to make a long story short, we head into the inn, we manage to get a bed for the night. We wake up early enough to catch the market the next morning, and then we sell everything that we possibly can, while also stealing everything that wasn't nailed down to sell as well. And that is the entirety of our brief stop in Windhelm. And now as quickly as we arrived, we're leaving this frozen over hellhole. We have to come back here a bit later in the story of the game, but right now, we get to go as far away from here as possible. As I felt my luck was starting to turn over, the courier came to escape us a lovely message, and I was starting to feel up about things. Evidently, I feel the game could tell. We opened the letter, I was generally hoping for a little bit of money or something, some better news, but instead we just have some creepy admirer. Not gonna try and fight me, right? You're not aggroed. I'm not too ashamed to say I'll run away from a fight that I know I can't win. But I am ashamed to admit the fact that I died to a much less worthy fight. Oh, that thing's gonna fucking kill me, isn't it? In the middle of it though, I did try to level my way up a bit like it would do anything. No, that effort just fucking mauled me anyway. I took that one much better this time around, but then again, that could be due to the fact that I actually remembered to save. Although after that last death, I did drop the difficulty back down one touch, so we're no longer adept. Back where we were, our old friend came around again. The problem this time is he seems very intent on making contact. Last time I could run away, I didn't think I could make it this time. like. We barely lived through that one, but we did live, which shows that the difficulty is probably in about the right place.
You did good.
Yeah, Janassa helped too. A quick chuck and suplex later, we free up the road and give the river creatures something to nibble on.
Not how it intended.
Carrying on our merry way, we attempt to learn how to swim. It immediately does not go well. After gracefully struggling, and definitely not dying, we eventually figure out we need to move our arms in a crawling motion to actually get through the water, because somehow I have physical swim on now. We remove some more wildlife from the dune puddle, but then we start making some real progress towards our goal. We are now past Windhelm, which means we're starting to get close to the coast, which means we're not very far away from the college at all. We pretty much just have to go over that mountain there, or skirt round it and hog the coast. After our incidents with previous mountains, I opted to instead go round to the right. When we were so rudely interrupted by some ice wraiths. Now, ice wraiths have given me some trouble in the past, and here I unexpectedly fought two. It started to flood back to me why I avoided this damn statue. But it shouldn't be too bad, I thought. You can manage this. And after all, I've got Janassa. She's one of the best followers at the start. First Lydia and now this. First Lydia and now this. That is the second follower we have been through. There is a limited amount of these guys. And Janassa, like I kept saying, was one of the best. While not as damaging as losing Lydia, we still need to mourn in our own way. We treat her respectfully by taking all her equipment so that we can sell it. We then lift her and we put her underneath the statue.
Put her somewhere.
And we leave her in a very respectful position, of which we will never return and never speak about because we definitely didn't accidentally throw her off the edge. Yeah, so some random woman runs up to us, gives us some story about her just escaping.
It was like a bandit trap.
I put zero faith in it and sent her on her way. Still grieving from her massive loss, we carry on heading on towards the college. It's what Janassa would have wanted. And then up ahead we managed to spy something very useful. What could it be? We find a named Khajiit called Quadojo? Something like that. He's a little bit scared just now, but that's only because he's a little bit rocked. After we manage to calm him down, we speak to him. We find out that he's a Daedric worshipper, but not the kind of Daedra that we expect, which is like the devils of this universe, but he goes into a whole spiel full of parables and the rest of it. But what it turns out is that he's on a pilgrimage. He's going to visit the Daedric statues. Somehow, this dumbass agrees to come with us. Definitely did not tell him what happened to the previous two. I feel like we've got a good rapport with Quadojo. Enough that I'm going to call him QD pretty much for the rest of this because I will not remember how to pronounce it correctly. Our philosophy session is cut a bit short, sadly. A Sabertooth seems to have taken offense to some of what he was saying. We excised the Sabertooth from our conversation.
Bad kitty.
And then we take the final steps towards the college. And do you see that on the right? That right there is the College of Winterhold.
Yeah. Don't ask, but predecessors.
Of course. And then we're back. Been a while since we had a crash. But pushing past that, we make our way back to where we had found our follower previously. We quickly free the monk from his current predicament, and then we speed around the dialogue to get him back in our sight again. Finally though, after all that nonsense, we make it into Winterhold. Winterhold isn't the most exciting place. It's cold and boring, mostly for the town part. The only real reason to come here is the bit that we're beelining for now, which is the college. But in order to get in, we have to meet this Feralda chick, and she tells us we gotta pass a small little mage test before we can get in, which is fine, it's normally very quick. So she tells us to cast the fear spell. We gotta cast it in this little dumb sigil bit, and then she'll let us into the college. There is two problems. I do not know the fear spell, and another problem that I am about to learn. So luckily she will teach us the spell so we don't have to go and find someone else to do it. But here's the second problem. I can't seem to cast it.
In how much?
Yeah, I physically had to fucking lean in to read that one to make sure I was looking at it right. The fear spell costs 189 mana to cast. I have fucked something. At this point I thought maybe I can train my way out of it, but she only offers destruction magic, which I'm already far too versed in. So I realized this had to be something to do with the better magic progression mod, and I tried to figure out what I could do to increase it. After reading for a little bit, it said that the more magic you use, the more mana you get. Makes more sense. And amongst the city bugging to all hell, I'm trying to figure out what I can do to make this possible to cast, because I've been firing off spells as soon as I've got mana, and it hasn't increased very much. I think it's increased a total of 6 points. So I spent some time wandering, ended up taking a night in the inn just to cool off, found this disgraced mage, Nelkar, who I could buy some magic from at a decent price. I figured what the hell, whatever helps. But it's the next day that I sit down and I figure out what I have to do. So it's in the menu, you can configure the better magical conversion mod. Had a mini stroke there. The better magical progression mod. While configuring this in here, I'm trying to figure out what the hell I've done, and I couldn't figure out what was up. I don't have a good way of showing it here, but I eventually have to reconfigure this entire mod from external from the game, because I have no idea what the hell I did, but I somehow set the growth values to negatives. You heard that right. I was at negative modifiers for progression. So the little bit of mana that I got was actually an integer overflow of it hitting the max cap of the negative number it could take and then rolling over to a positive value, which then made it level up and gave me a single mana. I had to overhaul the entire configuration and use the console to reset the values to the base positive values. I then decided to treat myself, and rather than set the mod's configuration to the base starting values, I decided to tweak them just a little bit higher so I could get to where I need to be faster. I swear to God, I am cursed with technology. Every now and again things just break in ways that they should not for any reason, but it just happens. I swear my luck is either 1 or 20 and nowhere in between. After dealing with that shit show, we meet this little fuckhead who wants to be invisible to go and cause bother. We, as mages, properly oblige and make him invisible, and by that I mean I tell him he is because I no longer care about him. Practically invisible, and then he goes off and does whatever the fuck he's gonna do. We speak to Feralda and finally do her fucking fear test. As we go along, she starts lighting up these pill things, and right at the end here, she has me questioning the ability of this college. Absolutely nailed that one, Feralda. I think she's kept outside on purpose. And just like in real higher learning, we start meeting all sorts of colourful characters, starting with these two arguing over whatever the hell practical use of magic that they're on about is. I would love to say I listened intently, but I was way too interested in just getting more magic. After all, the real reason we're here is to power ourselves up a little bit. I'm determined to have a mage build this time around, especially since the Nightingale bow and arrow ultimate crit build is off the table on account of my ability. We finally did speak to this one lady, Mirabelle, because it turns out she's actually one of the main instructors we have to speak to. She shows us about the place. Mainly she shows us around the college campus grounds. Meanwhile, in the background I'm trying to quell QD's thirst for blood. The cat craves violence. He needs to chill a little bit though, so we can learn what we need to learn first. Could you not order hobo for like 2 minutes? We're first led to the Hall of Attainment, where we find that some of the students are housed. We head inside and are led into a room which we are told is our own, and we can use as freely as we would like to.
This is where you'll be staying. This bed and desk are yours. Please try and be considerate of others. Now, let's go back to the Hall of the Elements, where most of the members gather for lectures and study sessions.
I get a little reflective here as I go back through everything I went through in Whiterun to try and get a house. And I can't believe I completely forgot about the fact that they just give me one here.
Give me a bed like that, I cast one spell. One. And they give me a whole bed. Somewhere to sleep. And a base to work out of. With storage. Oh, Lydia for a house.
No point dwelling on that. First we do a little quick save before we go and learn our new spells.
I can reach one.
And of course we had another crash. Very glad I quick saved just before there. Starting to get a really good intuition of whenever it's about to crash. But diving straight into the Hall of Elements, we get to learn some new magic. Something you may notice as well is that everyone here seems to have some funky fresh haircuts and look very different than how they're supposed to. The first thing we're taught about here is magic safety, and then find myself having to convince QD to put the weapon away, and then find myself telling QD to put the weapon away again, as I have to teach him about physical safety for others. These other fledgling magical shitlets are going on about how they don't need to learn about safety. But in my mind, I have learned how dangerous magic can be for other people.
Just give it a chance. What's the worst that could happen?
All right, let's settle down. I suppose we can try something.
So I am fully ready to take this lesson about words.
Waiting for. Let's get started.
We're picked out as a target for this old man's emotional abuse, as he says that we need to hold up a ward as he's going to throw some spells at us, to convince the others that this is something they need to know.
Cast the ward spell and keep it up.
Something?
Hold still. Excellent work.
After a late beating, the old man seems to be out of breath and decides to end class for the day. He says that the next one will be out in some little small tunnel or tomb or something. I wasn't really listening to him, his hair was very distracting. I then make it my mission to find every bit of magic I can buy. I get quite a few number of spells, it helps flesh out our arsenal something awful. But with this, I felt we got enough for us to start making our way towards our next story objective. As much as I want to continue with the college questline just now, I think it will actually destroy me if I try to take it on before I try and do some more other quests. I'm going to work on my magic for a little bit first, I'm going to go do this main quest, and hopefully it all works out for the best. I feel a lot more equipped to handle the next mission after visiting Winterhold. We'll come back here soon, but not right now. With that, we then select the next mission, which is to head for this Horn of Jurgen. We've picked up a very handy spell that now lets us follow a trail that leads us to where we need to go. So it should hopefully put a straight line between me and my destination of where I need to go, and it will highlight some paths on the road for us. Now, me and my infinite wisdom decided that rather than sleeping over in an inn tonight, I was just going to walk through the night time. It's a cold, barren wasteland, so I said to myself, there can't be much there. I've got something that tells me the straight line. I have magic that I can use to light the night if I need to, but I never do. And there is some weird sights to see in the middle of the night. I think this was just a wandering band of adventurers who decided to absolutely dunk on that saber cat. Who knows? Not my business anyway. I've got a way to go. Something I should note is that I found a very, very handy spell called Long Stride. It gives me 20% more movement speed and 25 more carry points. I'm more curious about the movement speed, mainly because I'm locking myself out of doing the quick traveling. So this is a great little bonus to work towards magical progression and get some speed going so I can get faster between places. Wandering through the night was not without difficulty. We found plenty of enemies on the way there. I am just bumbling my way through the ice, trying to light up the night with a fire spell, forgetting the fact I have mage light. As I'm traveling through the night after fighting one or two enemies, we suddenly just get attacked by these what seem to be spell swords. These guys absolutely destroy me within seconds.
Good warning message.
I'd love to say this was the only time, but it must have happened about 4, 5, 6 times from the last save, to the point that after about 30 minutes of trying to deal with these guys, I just decide to start running. I end up waiting till dawn once it's safe so I can finally see again. We then come across what seems to be a bandit encampment, and I give a very much needed pep talk to QD.
There is probably a bandit camp over there. You hear me cast a spell. Dodge. How hard can it be, right?
And with the warning out of the way, we prepare for glorious combat.
I said dodge.
I have no clue what the hell happened. Somewhere in the middle of the melee he managed to die. I don't think we can even properly mourn him very well. Like, we've barely seen QD for any amount of time. Even checking back through the footage, I can't see exactly what killed him. I just see that he spears for a split second with his word out, but then all of a sudden he's down. Good news though, Tikrit here may in fact be companion number 4. She also looks like she's a defender, so she can take a couple of hits, unlike a certain Khajiit I may have known. We get through her dialogue and she suggests that we meet up with her in Dawnguard when we next see her, and hopefully there's just going to be a small quest around her that may get her on our side. And with that, we have a new destination in mind. We're going to stop over in Dawnguard real quick, and then we're going to carry on our merry way to get this horn, and hopefully maybe see something to do with Turker. So we run into Dawnstar quite briefly, but this area is such a buggy mess that I chose just to abandon all footage here because it's just unwatchable. The area itself was completely unplayable. I journeyed in for about 2 minutes, but I have no idea why, but this area is completely unstable. There was NPCs clipping through the floor, there was buildings popping in and out of existence. I basically just went in, slept over, got the meeting. I just went to an inn, stayed the night, got out in the morning, and then got out of there as fast as I could. I couldn't have even a proper conversation with anything. The walk to Ustengrav was actually fairly uneventful. What it was though was fairly scenic. I definitely think I've got a hang of my mods because actually looking around this area, it looks pretty decent. It was a very enjoyable walk.
Gotta be Solitude, right? It is. Bastards. Fucking miles away.
As you can tell, I was getting a little bit miffed at the sheer scale of what the Greybeards had sent us on for this goose chase. But we're nowhere near done with this yet. It's time to descend into this pit and get through this hellhole that it's led me to. Another little quick safety save for this Jenga pile of mods and Bethesda engines. Aside from the overwhelming disappointment with the lack of physics in this skull, there wasn't a whole lot actually in this cave. It was a lot of hard slogs and long fights, but nothing too major.
Argonians in a blizzard.
Feel free to grab a pick and help them out.
Aside from the odd spellcaster that made me very glad for picking up that ward finally, it was mostly just full of undead in here. A lot of them just needed a little bit of reburying. I'm gonna say that it was mostly just full of undead. I mean, it was completely full of undead. Like, this place was brimming. I have no idea how the hell they stay down here. If there's this many undead down here, this isn't a tomb. You have fucked up at burying them. I'd love to say that the deeper caves were much better, but it was pretty much more of the same once again. Honestly, at this point it's less of a tomb and more of a care home with how many husks there is here. Skipping the patients wandering the hall, we soon found the nursing home's food court, which, much like all other food courts and nursing homes, are very confusing to navigate and seem to look back on themselves. The staff were very unhelpful, they were very aggressive. 0 out of 10 for customer service. 3 out of 10 for the aesthetic though. Since the staff of this area had been so unhelpful, I decided to make myself useful. I first turned on the heating for the residents, for they were feeling a little bit cold. Next, I went through and perused the medical supplies, trying to sort out what medicine could be here, but once again, it looks like it'd been written by a doctor, so God knows what could be in these vials. Just to be safe, I decided to take it all myself. And before you go and call me charitable, it's alright, I recovered the costs of operation from the residents. Next we travelled to the activities room, which I introduced some of the residents some of the more fun activities, such as having a peaceful death, not getting in my way, getting the fuck out of my life, and Wolfie's Chew Toy fun times. It does seem some of the members of staff had caught wind of what I was up to, and they had formed their local union to come stop the cheap labour I was providing. Can't forget to take breaks to breathe in that musty old man smell. No idea how they managed to fit it inside this rock though. I felt it about time for me to make my exit from the activities area though. Thankfully they've got some childproof locks around here to prevent the more senile patients from getting out. One burst gas main and several spider evictions later, we finally make it to our destination. Nearly 6 hours ago we were on that goddamn mountain. But it's fine. We're all done. Just look at this. Beautiful animation, statues rising out the water. Our prize just in front of us. Or it fucking should be! Why the fuck is there a note? Some rat bastard got in here before us, took the fucking thing, and then left a note for us?
The fuck's this?
To say I was upset would be an understatement. I left this place with a mixture of emotion. I was somewhat sad. I was mostly upset. I was very fucking angry. I claimed my way out of this cavernous shithole to find this vacuous arsehole. After taking 0 time to collect myself, I opened up the map to see just how far away I am, and given that I can't use fast travel, I wanted to see just how fucked I was. It's right next to where I fucking started. And that will about do us for this one. I think I got everything I wanted to do, aside from the massive upset at the end. This one's took me a lot longer to put together, but fuck it, I get them together whenever I get them together. I've got a bit of time off coming up, so hopefully I'll be able to get to focus on videos a little bit more. But with the holiday period coming up and other things, I have no idea. My schedule is usually terrible anyway. I will promise to put some more effort towards it. Hopefully I can get a bit more consistent. But thank fuck this one's finally done. But with that, this bit's done. Hopefully I will get to the other one faster. And with that, I will catch you all next.
What can I do for you?